Hello, X Files, and welcome back to the X Files Chat Room podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jessica, and as always, I'm here with my bestest X File, Dini. What's up, Dini?
What's up, Jessica? How is it going? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really
Good.
excited about this episode. I honestly, I think just to get it over with, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, I
I just
agree
want to
with
get
that.
it over with.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too.
All right. Well, before we jump into it, do you have any lingering thoughts about our last episode, which was Sleepless?
I think Sleepless was a nice surprise, especially when it came to the MSR. Like you said, don't sleep on Sleepless. I enjoyed it a lot. It was surprising. What about you?
I really liked it. It was a solid season 2 episode. It was a classic X-Files case. You couldn't go wrong with it. Is it going to stand up to all the other episodes that were to come after it? No, it doesn't. But that's not to say that it wasn't a good episode. It was solid.
Yep, I agree.
All right, Dini, let's move on to Sunshine Days. Let's get it over
Yes,
with.
indeed.
Let's go.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, this is a season 9 episode, episode 18 to be specific. The previous episode was Release, and the next episode is the finale, The Truth.
Hmm.
And this episode aired, the original air date was May 12th, 2002, written and directed by the one and only Vince Gilligan.
Yes, indeed. Our favorite, one of our favorites.
Absolutely. So this episode takes place in Los Angeles, California, and that is the ancestral homelands of the Chumash and Tongva people, Quantico, Virginia, ancestral homelands of Doggett, and Washington, D.C., ancestral homelands of Piscataway and Anacostan, and we find that information on native-land.ca. Let's move on to things in the news. May 10th, Anaheim Angels crush the Chicago White Sox 19-0. The Angels joined the 1923 Indians, the 1939 Yankees, and the 1950 Red Sox as the only teams to beat two opponents by 19 or more runs in the same season.
Yeah, you played softball, right? You played. Can you imagine playing a game and you're like 19 down? That's horrible.
I
That's
mean,
awful.
we actually had a pretty good softball team, the team that
Yep.
I played on, but basketball, I mean, we were down like 40, 50 points. We were lucky if we scored
Really?
23 points.
Oh man. Ouch.
Ay, ay,
That's
ay.
bad.
All
Ay,
right,
ay,
May
ay.
12th, former U.S. President Jimmy Carter arrives in Cuba for a 5-day visit with Fidel Castro, becoming the first president of the United States in or out of office to visit the island since Castro's revolution in 1959. Also on May 12th, U.S. military operations in Afghanistan continue, targeting remaining Taliban and Al Qaeda forces.
Yep, we were at war at this time.
Also, India and Pakistan tensions intensify after a deadly attack in Kashmir, raising global fears of military escalation between the nuclear armed neighbors.
Yeah, there was a lot going on back then. A lot.
May 15th, documentary Bowling for Columbine by Michael Moore premieres at the Cannes Film Festival.
Yes, and it went on to become this huge success for him.
All right, things popular at the time, movies wise, we had Spider Man. That's the one with Tobey Maguire, Willem Dafoe, Kirsten Dunst, and James Franco. That was a good one.
Loved it.
We also had Unfaithful with Richard Gere, Diane Lane, and Olivier Martinez, who I
Ooh, that was a
had a
good one.
major crush on. I think everybody did.
Oh, yeah. Hell yes.
And the other movie was The New Guy. I don't remember this one. Eliza Dushku was in it, Zoe
Eliza
Deschanel.
Dushku, my all-time girl crush. Yes.
All right, TV at the time, we had ER, top TV at the time, I should say, ER, CSI, and Friends. You know, I love me. All three of those I was obsessed with.
Yes, I remember.
All right, top music at the time, we had Foolish by Ashanti, What's Love, Fat Joe featuring Ashanti, and I Need a Girl Part 1 by P. Diddy featuring Usher and Loon. Yikes.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate title now, right?
All right, so Out of the top 100 Billboard, Dini, what was your X Files song pick?
I think I picked this one before. I went with number 15, Wherever You Will Go by The Calling.
That's a
Um,
good one. I love that
just
one.
very, very X-Files
Yes,
season
indeed.
9, this era. I remember videos being made with that song, so that's one I picked.
Yep. All right. Well, I went with number 78, Hoobastank's Crawling in the Dark. I think this is a perfect X Files song.
Oh, that's a good one. I
I
had
know.
forgotten about that one. That's a
So
good one.
good. All
Yes.
right, Deanie, around May 12th, 2002, where were you?
All right. Well, I know exactly where I was on that day. Um, and this is a total bummer, but my step grandma, she was a beautiful lady, inside out, passed away that night. In fact, we got word while I was watching this episode. And
Mm,
it was really heartbreaking for all of us to lose her. And the fact that she left us on Mother's Day, that's the day it fell on, just made it even like harder, especially for her kids. But she lived a good life. She was well into her 80s and she went peacefully, surrounded by family. So, yeah, I know that's a bummer, but that's what happened, and that's where I was. And I don't know if my dislike for this episode, I don't have a hatred towards it, but I don't know if that stems from that. You know what I'm saying? It could very well be, but it just brings back that memory for me. So that's where I was. That's a bummer. What about you? Where were you?
around that time, at this point, I had been living in Los Angeles for about 8 months. I was taking the bus to school, learning about typography, video, audio, web design, and a million other things. My kind of like area that I was at the time was Overlanded National. That's my old hood. I'd walk down to Blockbuster, you remember those, to
Oh
rent
yeah,
something awesome and then head to AM/PM, grab a Gatorade, maybe some sunflower seeds and an ice cream, maybe. And then I would have the
nice.
time of my life watching the movie, maybe reading some fanfic before I went to bed. I
Yeah,
um I mean, I was brand new to
yeah.
LA and I didn't really want any distractions from school because school is very important to me. I was there for that reason, so I wasn't out partying just yet.
Mhm. But eventually that did happen, right?
What?
You went out partying and stuff?
Well, of course. I was in my 20s.
Alright.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the synopsis. Doggett, Reyes, and Scully investigate a bizarre murder where a man was seemingly thrown through a roof. The investigation leads them to a suburban home that, on the inside, is the exact physical replica of the house from the Brady Bunch, the TV show The Brady Bunch. The house isn't just a meticulous renovation, it is the creation of Oliver Martin, a man with incredible telekinetic and reality warping abilities. All right, Dini, Cinco de los Files. This is the top 5 from the files. This is where we go over our top 5 moments from this episode. Dini, you start us off. What is your number 5?
Okay, my number 5 is the cold open. Not on your list?
Nope, not on my list.
All right, so it's nighttime. We're in Van Nuys, and there's two friends, Blake and Daly, and they're sitting on the hood of a car. They're chilling, drinking beers, and they're hanging out across the street from what Blake claims is the real house used for the TV show The Brady Bunch. Daly doesn't believe him, but Blake insists that he saw inside while making a pizza delivery the night before. And to prove it, Blake walks onto the property and finds that the front door is unlocked. Daly's not really comfortable with this, but he follows his friend inside. And what do you know? The inside looks exactly like the Brady Bunch house. Blake is hyped. He snoops around, he's noticing every little detail. And Daly, he's amused at first, but then he becomes uneasy and confused by the whole thing. And his sort of tension spikes when a football slowly rolls down the stairs on its own. So Daly is like, man, screw this, I'm out of here. And he leaves. Meanwhile, Blake sticks around. and follows the sound of children giggling coming from upstairs. That you don't do that. That's a no-no. But when he reaches the hallway, he basically finds the like Brady Bunch version of the Shining twins. They're like these, sort of almost ghostly versions of Bobby and Cindy Brady. Blake follows them into the bedroom. Meanwhile, outside on the street, Daly is sitting in the car. He's anxious. He wants Blake to hurry the hell up and get out of the house. And then moments later, Daly hears a loud crash. Blake's body suddenly falls onto the roof of the car, dents it all to hell. Daly climbs out of the busted driver's side window and is horrified when he discovers Blake's body. I think this cold open did its job to hook the audience very well. First of all, we have David Faustino as Daly, and David Faustino, of course, played Bud Bundy in the Fox sitcom Married with Children, which was, like this late 80s, 90s comedy classic about a very
Yes.
dysfunctional American family.
Yes.
Then we
And
have
the ladies loved him. He was a cute little thing.
totally adorable, just a cutie. I remember in 8th grade, we all had a crush on David Faustino. We had like
Totally.
posters of him and stuff.
Yep.
And but then we also have this weird crossover thing with the Brady Bunch and the X-Files. The Brady Bunch was very famously very family friendly, very wholesome, and to have it presented in this like mysterious, retro, creepy way was pretty cool. And I think, nostalgia can be great and it can be comforting, but it can also be very haunting and unsettling, as we saw here. And I think Stephen King is the master of that. Like his stories have so much nostalgia in it, and he presents it in this like this horrific way. And I think Vince Gilligan, I don't know if he was inspired by him in any way for this episode, but I got some Stephen King vibes from this scene, and it was good. I thought it was pretty good. So that was my number 5.
That's really interesting. Okay, I did not see it like that at all. I didn't
Hmm.
get creeped out or the creeps or anything. And I did get nostalgic, of course, because it's the Brady Bunch. I loved the Brady Bunch. I didn't get creeped
Yeah.
out when I saw Bobby and Cindy. I didn't I mean, I
That's
kinda
interesting.
got creeped out kind of a little bit when the football started, like, bouncing down the steps, and that's just because it looked like the house was empty, and it was clear that somebody else was there, so that kinda creeped me out a little bit,
Yeah.
but I
Mhm.
think I was just in awe of looking at the set, looking at the house, looking at all the details, pretty, stoked that this had to do with the Brady Bunch in some way, somehow, in some
Yeah.
form. I I didn't get creeped out, except for that one
Interesting.
little moment.
Yeah.
I did not find it scary at all.
Interesting. That is so interesting. Yeah, see, I was never like a Brady Bunch kid. I mean, I watched maybe a couple of them, but I was more like, Three's Company, Facts of Life, watcher. I didn't really watch the Brady Bunch. So maybe because you were familiar with it and it didn't creep you out, and because I'm not, wasn't, maybe that's what just gave me the creeps. But anyway, let's move on
Yeah.
to your number 5.
Alright, yes, let's move on to my number 5. My number 5 is Skin Man Levitates.
That's higher on my list.
Oh, I knew it, dang it. Okay, let's move on to your number 4.
My number 4, Scully meets Oliver Martin.
Interesting. Okay, not on my list.
All right, so after Oliver nearly kills Doggett, the guys, along with Dr. Reitz, gather in the living room. Scully and Reyes walk in, and they're in awe of how the house looks from the inside. Reyes goes to check things out while Scully, checks up on Doggett. He's okay. And that's when he introduces Scully to Oliver. And Scully says it's a great pleasure to meet him. Reyes wants to know how he made this all happen. And Oliver explains that he just thinks about it and it's there. And Scully asks what happens when he thinks about another place, a nice place. And Oliver is hesitant at first, but with some encouraging support from Dr. Reitz, the environment begins to change little by little until everyone finds themselves in this like beautiful green field by the ocean. And suddenly the room goes back to how it was, the Brady Bunch house. Scully is completely astounded and tells Oliver that with his help, they could learn so much. And she would love to take him back to Washington. And again, with Dr. Reitz's support, Oliver agrees to go. Um, I feel like this was a pretty cool moment for our agents. They experienced this supernatural paranormal event together, and what they just witnessed was real. No one was hallucinating, no one was dying, no one was under some weird spell. This was the real deal. Oliver 100% has supernatural abilities. And while I totally appreciate the three of them experiencing this together, I love this for Scully the most. Like, she's the OG of this unit. She's the one that's gone through the most, physically and emotionally for the X Files. And it was great to see her shock and amusement at Oliver's abilities. And I also like the way she approached and spoke to him. She was very soft and kind. And I just thought it was a pretty cool scene that they all experienced that. And it was for real this time. So that was my number 4.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I feel like though I was kind of taken out of it. I definitely could tell you the first time that I watched this, I was taken out of it. We've talked about it before. We were not open to any episode that Mulder wasn't in. We didn't like Doggett. We didn't like Reyes. We were just kind of fed up and done with it. So I can guarantee you, back in the day, I was not a fan of this, and I was not paying attention to everything that you just mentioned right now.
Oh, for sure.
Watching it today with a different lens, um, honestly, I still didn't feel what you're feeling. I get it, and I'm glad you're saying that because it's exactly like that. Our agents got some sort of, supernatural thing in the palm of their
Mhm.
hands, and
Yep.
it's it's basically just right there for them to investigate, to prove, to see. They all see this. It's all believable. They all witness it.
Yep.
But I was taken aback again, watching this. I wasn't in the moment. I didn't see that. What I saw was I was paying attention to when Scully came in, and I loved how Reyes was like just to dog it, "Hey, you okay?" And then she goes and like plays with like the little vase that Peter broke.
The vase and all the
And
little things.
then
Yeah.
Scully goes over to Doggett, who just basically, has a head injury and kinda
Mm.
looks him over, but it just reminded me of freaking oh, what's that episode? The episode I don't like.
Rain King?
Rain King, where Mulder she comes and she's, like, rubbing all in Mulder's head, trying to, like, look. She does not do the same thing with Doggett, but she
Right.
does put her hand on his shoulder, and not in a shippy way, but I do feel
No, no.
like my, old version, the young version of Jessica, I should say, was like, "Oh, I don't like that. How dare she,
Why did
like,
you have to fucking
put
touch
her"
him?
Yeah, why put
Yeah.
her hand on his shoulder? Like, I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So I was taken aback to that today, obviously without, like, the anger, but I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, that's very interesting." And then another
Huh.
thing that kinda took me out of it was the fact that the green screen was just awful. It was just
Yeah.
horrible, and,
Yes.
of course, that's a lens of today, right? Because back in the day, I feel like it wasn't that bad. I don't remember complaining
No.
about it, but
Mm-mm.
today, yeah, absolutely, I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
that
man,
hasn't
this is
aged
just looks
well.
so bad." It
Yeah,
just looks
that
so
hasn't
bad.
aged well at all.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
agree. Yeah, I agree.
So, I'm glad you were able to pull some value out of that because it wasn't there for me.
Okay. That's fair.
All right, let's move on to my number 4. My number 4 is Doggett and his ahas, and this is kind of at the beginning of the episode when he goes and looks in the trash.
Oh, nice. Okay, not on my list.
Interesting. Okay, okay. So, Doggett goes around. This is the beginning of the episode. They're investigating Homie coming down and crashing in the car. So Doggett goes around to look in the back, and Monica goes with him. And he looks in Homie's trash, and he says, "Aha." Monica, she's just kind of looking at him as he pulls out. He's looking in the trash, and he pulls out like this roofing asphalt shingle. I think that's what they're called. He asks Monica to hold it as he climbs up on the trash to inspect the roof, where there's a nice patch of like new tiles. This elicits another aha from him. Monica says to herself, twice with the ahas. She's looking at him like, tell me what's up. You tell me what's going on. He hops down and tells her his findings, saying that he thought he smelled fresh plaster when they were talking to Benjamin Linus, aka Oliver. And
Mhm.
Monica wants to be filled in. So he fills her in. Eyewitness, matching shingle found at scene. The roof is patched and it's about the size of a body. Doggett says
Yep.
A to B to C and then walks up on her like he's about to make a move. I was kind of taken aback. I was like,
Mm.
whoa. He just walks and stands right in front of her. And it threw me for a little bit. And she's like, much in fashion of, say, Daffy Duck or Wile E. Coyote, the dude shot up through the roof and then landed on his friend's car. She's like, are you serious? He says A to B to C. What can I tell you? I think I'm finally getting the hang of this job. So I picked this because I love me an open-minded Doggett, a light-hearted Doggett, a Doggett who looks like he wants to roll up on Agent Monica Reyes.
See,
I
I
mean,
didn't I didn't get that at
oh,
all.
go watch it
Just
again. Please go watch it again. And the
all
two
right,
have
I
been
will.
like what, flirting, kind of dropping subtle hints towards the end
Yes.
of this season. And this moment started the episode out really strongly in that direction with this scene. Plus, yeah, I think Doggett, yeah, I think you're finally getting the hang of this job. So that's the reason it was my number 4.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. Um, what was the episode? Damn it, no, I can't. I shouldn't have. What was the episode where uh he like time travels or something? Not time travels.
Oh,
I don't know.
3D?
Yes.
Yeah.
So with 3D, they were kind of coming in heavy with the Reyes and Doggett. And it's unfortunate that we didn't get another season with them. You know what I mean? I would have
Well,
liked to have seen where
it
this
was
went, but
totally, but it was also, oh man, what is the name of the episode where we wrap up his son dying?
release.
Release. And they end on a good note, and she's there for him, and it's implied by the ex-wife that they could be a thing if he just let her in. So
Yes.
it's been hinted at
Building.
for a while, yeah. And I think
Yes.
in this episode there was definitely some lingering looks, some a little flirty, some
Yep.
I don't know what you would say, like some intention in some
Yeah.
way, somehow. I mean, and we'll get to it because there's other things that happen in this episode. But yeah,
Yep.
so that was my number 4, Dini. How about we move on to your number 4?
My number
Wait, are
well,
we on your
actually
number 4?
we're on my number 3.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Let's move
No
on to
worries.
your number 3.
So my number 3 is Skinner experiences Oliver's superpower, and that was your
That
number
was my
5?
number 5. Yes.
Okay. So we're in Washington, D.C., Skinner's office. We get a shot of the Skin Man, wide eyed and speechless. He looks down, and we cut to the crew Doggett, Reyes, and Scully. And they're sitting just a few feet away from him. Doggett looks a bit like confused. And then we slowly pan to Reyes. She's all smiles. Then we slowly pan to Scully, who has the biggest, goofiest grin on her face, just like the perfect example of a cheesy smile. She's like the big grin with teeth emoji in this moment, and it's hilarious. Then we see Oliver and Dr. Reeds and another agent are in the office too. And we get to see what everyone is staring at, and it's Skinner hovering about a foot off the ground, and then suddenly, Oliver makes him do a flip midair. And at this, Scully joyfully laughs out loud. Like Gillian Anderson's laugh is the best. Oliver puts Skinner back on the ground. Skinner is totally amazed and he kind of has a chuckle as well. And he's, wow, he says. Then we cut to Oliver. He's looking a bit sweaty. He's not looking too good. And he asks for a glass of water. So I picked this moment for one reason, Gillian Anderson. Scully's big, goofy grin, her wholesome delight of it all is just great. And we know, we don't know, but I feel like she was thinking Mulder is going to be so happy when he finds out about this. It's just an absolute rarity to see Scully happy in this series. And I'm glad that they included this moment for all of us to see in like this last monster of the week of the series run, or the original series run, I should say. It's adorable and a definite highlight of the episode for me. So that was my number 3.
Yeah, her grin reminded me of Three of a Kind when she's like, ha 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 ha. She's like, yeah. She's so happy.
Yes.
That's why I love doing this podcast, is because we see things differently. I love that you love this for Scully and that you're thinking that she's thinking about Mulder, and how he's gonna like this proof. I didn't see it like that at all. I saw it like, yes, she's loving that she has, this man and his powers in her hands right now. However, I picked
Oh,
this for Skinner, floating around, him feeling so giddy by it all. It's really hilarious. And I mean, we're in Skinner's office, the home of
yeah.
such serious conversations, and Skinner's just floating around. Like, I think
Yeah.
she's thinking about Mulder, but not in the we finally have proof and I'm so happy, but more in the look at Skinner. Like, look at Skinner, look at Dad. He's like flipping backwards
Yeah.
and all this shit. That's how I see her thinking about Mulder in this scene. Um,
I love that.
and then just a side note, like, Skinner immediately wants to go and show the shit to Kirsch. He's just like, boom, in your
Yes.
face. In your
Mhm.
face, this shit is real.
Yes.
But I know I loved it because I thought it was so awesome to see their boss in that room where there was so much dread, there was so much
Yeah.
heartbreak, there was so much panic, there was so much all of these things throughout all of these years.
Betrayal.
And the last time
Yeah.
we kind of like are in this atmosphere, in this office, Skinner's floating and flipping backwards. I thought it was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I like the way you saw I like the way you look at it. Yeah.
All right, Dini, let's move on to your number 2.
Yes, my number
Okay.
2. Scully wants vindication.
Wait.
Mm,
No, my number 2.
Oh,
Wait, my number 3.
yes, your number. Yeah,
Because
because
that was your number 3,
that was
right?
my number 3. Yes,
Okay.
let's go on to your number 3. Yeah.
All right, Dini, let's move on to my number 3. And my number 3 is the video conference that Scully and Monica and Doggett have.
Interesting. Okay, not on my list.
Not on your list.
Nope.
I don't understand what's happening right now. All right. Okay. Scully's basically zooming with Doggett and Reyes. She says Doggett's theory holds water, the kid going out of the roof and landing on the buddy's car. But how? Scully thinks electricity, maybe. And maybe it's a byproduct. She tells them, I had an odd experience today. She tells him that it made her try something unusual. She tells them, kind of like with a look on her face, like, ooh, I can't believe I'm saying this. She says she borrows an EEG machine and wired the dude to it, the dead dude, and he's giving off electricity. Dead as a hammer, she says, but somehow still giving off residual electricity like a dying battery. She says it's fascinating. She's never seen anything like it. Monica wants to know what it means. She said, well, If Mulder were here, he'd talk about research linking electromagnetic fluctuations to levitation, poltergeist activity, ghost sightings. Ghost sightings and poltergeists? Doggett asks. That's what Mulder would say. And it's like, dude, you've met homie. Why does that
You
surprise
know
you?
that's
You've
what he would
already
say.
met him.
Yeah, yeah.
Scully says, at the end of the day, I wouldn't have any other theory that was any better, and I don't now. And she has like a faint little smile. So, firstly, Gillian Anderson looks absolutely amazing. I am loving her hair this season.
Yes.
Secondly, boy, have we come a long way. We've got Doggett still all about his roof flying body theory and Scully backing him up. It totally felt like if Mulder were there, he'd be like, "Dear diary, today my heart leapt." It was totally one of those scenes. Sadly, he's
Yeah.
not around, but she does mention him, and she does say at the end of the day, back in the day and her day today, she doesn't have a better theory. So, yes, even though she has come a long way, she was a little hesitant to even reveal all that to Reyes and Doggett. So, it's nice to see that old Scully is still very
Mhm.
much who she is as well. And I thought Jillian played it perfectly. I thought it was nice to mention Mulder in the penultimate episode of The X
Yeah.
Files, and I just loved it.
Yeah, it was a really good scene, and I saw my pick for number 2, which I've already revealed. I don't know if you're gonna leave that in, but I saw the way you see Scully's, sort of, "Wow, she's come a long way." I saw my number 2 pick in that way. But no, I love that you picked it. It was a really good it was a really good moment, and I love Doggett's, um oh, that's what Mulder would say? It's like, "Come on, dude." But it's still
You know the
funny.
guy.
Yeah, like, but it's still funny that he's still kinda in that space, right, mentally, where he's just like, "Really? That's what he" it's like, "Come on, dude, you met him. You
Yeah.
know this man." But, he still has to be, logical and, like, ghosts, poltergeists, I just
Yeah.
it's good. It was a good scene.
But like his theory, holds anything either. It's very supernatural and out of
Right,
this world and not, yeah,
for sure.
it's kind of
Yeah,
funny. But all
yeah.
right, Dini, I'm curious, what is your number two? Let's move on to your number two.
So, my number 2, Scully wants vindication. So Reyes finds the connection between the guy who lives in the Brady Bunch house and his decision to change his name to Oliver Martin. Oliver, as in cousin Oliver, who was a character during the last season of the Brady Bunch. Reyes explains that he wasn't very well liked by the other characters and he was a self-described pest. And Scully corrects her, a jinx. Cousin Oliver was a jinx. So Scully basically outs herself as a Brady Bunch fan, but she plays it off by saying, she's like, yeah, maybe I watched an episode or two. And Doggett's reaction to this is pretty funny. Like the look on his face. He's like, really, you two with this show? But anyway, Doggett says, whatever can help him capture this guy or bring him in, he's happy with it. And Scully explains that she's hoping it doesn't come to that. The power Anthony Fogelman, aka Oliver Martin, apparently has is extraordinary and it needs to be studied. Dr. Reitz agrees and suggests it could change everything. Scully thinks it very well could. And she goes on to say she's been working on the X Files or in the unit, she said, for 9 years and has investigated nearly 200 paranormal cases. And they're due for some incontrovertible truth. I want vindication, she says, for Mulder and for all of us. I really like this moment for Scully. We know, this woman has been to hell and back during those nearly 200 paranormal investigation. Now she's faced with the opportunity to provide proof. The proof, she and Mulder has chased down for so long, and she's like, hell yes, we're doing this. And similarly to what you said about your last pick, I think she has come a very long way from that first meeting with Mulder in that basement office. Like we see Scully looking at things very differently. Like the Scully from the pilot, she was very like hard pressed, unwavering in her skepticism. But she's experienced and seen so much since then. And now she wants to share the truth with the world for Mulder and for all of us. I love how she included everyone in the room because she could have just said, I want vindication for Mulder and me, but she didn't. And I love that because, Scully is she's a top tier player, team player, agent, friend, and human being. And I really like this scene. So that made my number 2.
Yeah, actually, let me go down to my notes because I had this in the Scully section. Um, she doesn't want to give up. She wants Mulder. She wants vindication for all of them, she says. But for the X Files in general, I think she means. That's what I thought she meant. Like, yeah, for all of us, because they work on the X Files. I think, or at least in my heart, in my head, I feel like she could have said for the X Files. Vindication
Yeah.
for the X Files for this whole entire time, everything that they worked on. I thought it was a really, really powerful scene. I loved her in this scene, actually. I thought she was completely amazing because that's what she's thinking, And
Yeah.
it's like that was Mulder's like thing, right? He just wanted proof. He wanted everybody to know that he was right because in your face, right? In your face,
Yes.
you thought the X-Files was a joke. The X-Files is not a joke. Here you go. Here's your proof. This is going to change the world. And I do love that for her. And yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, to jump ahead, it didn't work out for her, but she did the right
Yeah.
thing. The right thing
Yeah.
was done. So,
Yeah, and then Scully. We very rarely get these moments with Scully where she sort of comes across as vulnerable a little bit in the sense of she's speaking out. She's not keeping it inside. She's like, I want vindication. I want justification. I want this.
yeah.
And I really love that for her. I liked it
Yeah.
a lot.
I think
Yeah.
that's an older type of maturity that comes out in her,
Yes.
like a vulnerability. She's putting it out there like, "Nuh-uh, this is what I want. I'm not afraid to say what I want." Kind of
Right.
like I know it's kind of a reach, but this is what I loved about um what's that one episode? We just covered it. The one I didn't like with the supernatural the the one that I didn't really like,
Green
the
tea?
one no, 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 no,
Oh.
no, where she whispers in his ear, she tells him exactly what she wants. Like, I love this
Oh.
version of Scully, she's saying exactly what she
Yeah.
wants.
Um No, I'm stuck on the damn name of the episode.
I know, I I can't remember what it was called.
Nothing lasts forever
Nothing lasts
when they're in the
forever. Oh
church.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes, homie's gonna say what she wants. It's a getting
Yeah.
older thing. It's a I'm
Yep.
done with the bullshit thing. She's just gonna
Mhm.
lay it out there. This is what I want. Love it.
Yep, me too.
All right, let's move on to my number 2. My number 2 is John and Monica in the end of this episode.
Okay. Not on my
Not on your
list.
list? Oh my god, driving me nuts. This is the penultimate episode of the X-Files. Like, what?
All
Okay.
right, well, we'll see what you think from with my number 1. But all right, let's hear yours.
All right. Our
Your number
three
2.
heroes were watching Reitz and Anthony have a beautiful heart to heart. Scully gets a little sentimental and leaves the two alone as she walks off to be in her thoughts. Doggett says, "Here's hoping the TV stays off." And he learns, Anthony, how to love the real world. Reyes looks at him and grabs his hand. He gives her, like, "Oh, what do we have here? Look." She tells him, "I think you're getting in the hang of this job." And then she smiles, or he smiles actually. And we end the end. So this was picked because I ship these two. I ship these two. This is the last we see of them really together, connected. When we left them here, there was hope. We had something that we could imagine in our heads. People could write fanfic, other people could read the fanfic. This was the last good thing we had from them for them in the X
Yeah.
Files until it all got taken away. And let's just jump right into seasons 10 and 11. I get wanting Annabeth Gish to come back. We all wanted her back. We wanted both of them back. But not like this. Not the way it happened. Not all
No.
that went down.
Mhm.
I cannot forgive Chris Carter for doing her dirty like this, for doing both of them dirty like this. My heart
Amen to
breaks
that. I
every
agree.
time I
Yeah.
think of what could have been with these two. Justice for Monica, justice for this ship.
Right on,
Mic
dude.
drop.
Yes. Yep. And you're right. This is the last moment we get of them because, yes, they were in the truth, but not in this sort of intimate,
Yeah, this is their scene. This is their goodbye.
one-on-one.
This is their, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And I agree with you. I would have loved to have seen more of them. But again, a lot of us were in a different mindset at the time. It was just Mulder, Scully, Mulder, Scully. We didn't give a shit about Doggett and Reyes back in the day. And it's just like, oh
But we're
man.
talking about today right now. Well, or at
Oh
least
yeah.
I am
No,
right
no.
now. And the fact that
Yeah.
this didn't make your list, I am like mind blown that this did not make your list at all.
No, no. Well, let's go on to my number one. No, I love
Wait,
this scene.
Why? This is such a good scene.
Um,
And it's the
it-
last we see of John and
yeah,
Monica.
yes. Okay. So let me say this: that this was a good scene, and yes, you're totally right. This was the last time we see Doggett and Reyes like in this way. But for me, my number one kind of surpassed that moment
Oh,
for me.
I'm not talking about order. I'm talking about the fact that this did not make your list at all. Not that it wasn't
Yeah,
your number one. It wasn't my number one. My number one we still haven't talked about yet. This was
yeah,
my number
yeah. I
two,
don't know.
but it didn't make your list. What?
No, 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 it didn't. I don't know. I just maybe my focus was on I don't know. But it just my focus was on other things, mostly
Yeah.
Scully, and I think that that's just like an old habit, because I just want what's Scully doing? What's
Yeah.
Scully going through? What's Scully thinking?
I just think this
As
is the
opposed to
penultimate episode.
yeah,
Like, this is how
yeah,
we're leaving our characters, and that's why
yeah,
this one was important to me. But all right,
yeah.
okay then, Dini, let's move on to your number one, which is probably the same as my number one because it was the obvious choice. But go for it.
I don't know. I don't know what because we're so kind of like not on the
This one
same.
was obvious. This one was on the nose, though.
I don't know. Well, okay. So my number one, A to B to C, Doggett figures it all out.
Yes, that's my number one.
Oh, okay. Phew. I was like, oh man. All right. Doggett is in the basement office. He's watching old footage of Oliver Martin as a kid being studied by Dr. Reitz. And it's been established, like the scene before, that Oliver is dying because his superpowers are essentially shutting his body down. Scully, Reyes, and Dr. Reese come by the office, and Scully says that the doctors are doing all they can tests, medication, all that. And Doggett very confidently says none of that is going to work because they're treating the symptoms, not the cause. And then he questions why the Brady Bunch? Why are people still watching a 30-year-old TV show? Reyes and Scully basically explained that the Brady Bunch was about the perfect family that was wholesome. And since Oliver didn't have a family growing up, he created one, right? And Doggett is like, okay, I'd buy all that. But in this case, why specifically this show? Why not other TV shows? Then he
Partridge
focuses his
Family, 8
attention.
is enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So he focuses attention on Dr. Reeds. Oliver first saw the Brady Bunch with him, right? And Dr. Reeds confirms. And he says Oliver would insist on watching it together. And Doggett says that the more time they spent together, the more his powers faded until they finally went away completely. Why does he think that is? And Dr. Reeds has a moment of realization and says that they went away because for the first time in Oliver's life, he was happy. So Scully wants to know what the course of action is moving forward, and she addresses him as John, which is great. It shows how far their relationship has come. They're friends. Anyway, Doggett explains A, Oliver is going to die if he continues to use his powers. B, his power goes away when he's happy. And C, Dr. Reeds is a father Oliver never had. Doggett says to him, he loves you. And then Doggett says A to B to C. Look, I feel like this moment was a big nod to Doggett's, I think I'm getting the hang of this job. And earlier with the ahas, this is Doggett's moment to shine. And I've come to appreciate what Vince Gilligan did here. Like back in the day, I didn't give a shit. But throughout this entire episode, Doggett hasn't exactly been a cheerleader for Oliver, even before Oliver shot him up into the attic, which makes total sense because Doggett operates in this agent cop mode, right? He's not very sentimental at all, but he figures it out exactly what Oliver needs to survive by allowing himself to look at this case through a lens that's just dripping with sentimental, nostalgic vibes. I think it's a testament to Doggett's investigative skills. And it's also a testament to him as a person evolving as an agent. Like, look at you, Mr. Hardcore Badass former Marine, figuring this all out and finding a way to save Oliver's life in this sort of sentimental way. And I love this moment for Doggett. And, going back to the Reyes and Doggett sort of ship or connection, I think that because he's starting to have these feelings for Reyes, or it's sort of a blossoming thing, that he's willing to look at things maybe the way she would look at them in a more emotional way. That's what I got from this scene. So there's a lot of things. Just Doggett evolving, his maybe trying to do better for Reyes, and just it was just a great scene, and it was awesome to see Doggett have his moment, because as you said, a lot of us at the time, we didn't like Doggett and we didn't care, but looking back at this episode now, like the last monster of the week, Doggett gets to have his moment in the sun, and I loved it, and that's why it made my number one.
That's awesome, Dini. That's awesome. Yeah, like I said, this was the obvious choice. But obvious, I guess, not enough because I picked it completely for different reasons.
Interesting. Interesting.
So let me read my notes. All right. So
Okay.
at the end of that scene, Doggett says that Reed is a father he never had. And I loved this moment because Scully nods. She's just sitting there and she's nodding because she understands what this means exactly. It means she's just lost all her proof. She's not going to put Oliver through this, Anthony through this. Like, she's just like, okay, I get it. I understand. And I loved that little moment, and I just want to mention that cuz you didn't mention it, but yeah,
Yes.
Scully lost something here. That whole vindication that she wanted. Hang on real quick.
Okay.
There was this gnat that's been in here driving me
Oh, it's so
fucking nuts, and I
annoying.
just saw it and I just sprayed it. Oh, I feel so good.
You get
All
those at
right.
work, and it's so annoying.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention that part really quickly. But
Yeah.
let me go through my notes. First, let's start with the fact that Doggett, just like you said, pieces this together. I really love him in this episode. He's got such a good heart at the end of the day, and I dare say a lot like Mulder in terms of his
Yes.
empathy sometimes. Doggett,
Mhm.
thumbs up. Second, Scully understanding what this means. She's not going to want to kill Oliver just to get her proof. Like, what good would it do? So, just want to mention that.
Yes.
Lastly, getting called out by John Doggett asking why people are still watching a 30-year-old TV
Yes.
show was not on my bingo card. And yes, I have seen this before once, this episode, nearly 24 years ago. The fact that
Yep.
The X-Files still brings me joy, though it
Yep.
is over 30 years old, and it's my happy place. I
Yes.
relate to Oliver. I relate to Oliver in this sense. I have no superpowers, but the show's superpower is that I am still here. Talking to a
Absolutely.
girl I met online in an X Files chat room 27 years ago, dissecting a show that we can't quite let go of. Finding
Nope.
like minded others, all of you who keep us engaged and keep the conversation going. I will never apologize for loving this show for this long, for it being an obsession. Without it, I would not have found a lifelong friend. I wouldn't have found my career, and this podcast would not exist.
True, true, true.
I'd probably be married to a man watching golf or some other dumb shit. I will never apologize because the X Files brings me life. So shut up, Doggett. Shut up. Go away. Go away.
Yeah, yeah.
That is why
Yeah.
this is my number one.
I love it. And I love the fact that cuz you are not I'm not saying you're not sensitive, but it's rare to see that sentimental side of you come out,
Sentimental.
and I
Yeah, yeah,
love
yeah.
that that this scene did that for you.
He
I
called
love
me
that because 'cause
out.
I'm usually the big crybaby,
He
the
called me out.
I'm
He's
just
like, who's still watching a
yeah,
30-year-old show? Sir, we are.
we
We
are.
are, bro. I
Yep.
follow you on Instagram, Robert Patrick. I love all
Yes.
your shit.
Yep.
I'm double tapping whenever I can because you're fucking awesome. Like,
Yeah,
I
for
will
sure.
never let go of this show. I will never let go of the people who are on this show. I will never let go of anybody who has
Yeah.
worked on this show in the past. And
Yes.
even you, Mr. Rob Bowman. Like, I love the show. It brought me my
Yep.
whole entire life, and I still
For
love
sure.
talking about it. So, yeah, no, I felt
You're here.
really called
Hell
out by
yeah.
John Doggett. I was like,
Yes.
excuse me, sir.
Yeah. We do. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
All right, Dini, let's move on to thoughts. Story wise, what you got?
All right. So I think I've mentioned John Ritter already earlier, but I remember the late great John Ritter once said that he knew Three's Company was coming to an end when the stories started becoming like recycled versions of past episodes as a, of past episodes, excuse me. And I'm not saying this is what happened in this episode, but I feel like Sunshine Days had a lot of Rain King and the Goldberg variation vibes. Rain King was basically about a man who would cause things to happen because his inability to control
True.
his feelings. And then the Goldberg variation also featured a main character who was kind of hiding away from society and who had this sort of like innocence and vulnerability to them. And then, not to mention, Reyes basically rehashed Scully's joke about Wile E. Coyote from the Goldberg variation. Um, that's how I saw it. And I don't think this is a bad story. Vince Gilligan is a genius, and I respect him
Yes.
as a writer very much.
Yes.
But I don't think this was the story to end the Monster of the Week run of this series. And yes, there are some great moments for our heroes, but it was a little too quirky and silly for it to be like the last Monster of the Week ever, especially the fact that, you know, David Duchovny was about to come back all of us wanted so many like questions answered, and we wanted, and I'm not saying Scully didn't mention Mulder. That was great. She did.
Yeah.
And we had all that. But I think this episode would have done great, like in a mid-season episode or something, but not like the last monster of the week ever for the original series, because there was so much going on, so much we were looking forward to. We wanted closure on so many things, and this just didn't bring it, right? It was just like this story about this dude who loved the Brady Bunch, and it's like, really, you're going to end with this? But that's basically my beef with it. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it was a bad story, but I just, the placement wasn't right for me. So that's what I have on story.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, although I think I lean more towards I kind of wish this episode never happened, never existed to begin
Mm,
with. I do not like this episode. Was I able to find like little nuggets here and there? Yes, but if you wipe this episode completely off the map, um I would be perfectly okay with it. Perfectly okay with it.
yeah.
I just don't feel like it I just don't feel like it um did anything. It didn't move the needle anywhere. I guess maybe in a sense with like Monica and Doggett, maybe I guess it did a little bit in a sense because we did
Yeah.
get to see Skinner get hardcore proof in his hands and experience that firsthand. But I don't know, there's just something about this episode. I honestly feel like it could be a little bit about the chemistry between Reitz and Oliver, and
Mm,
it could be Oliver too, because he was kinda creepy and this was a kind of lighthearted episode. I think it falls into that. The
yeah,
score
yeah,
definitely tells me that it does.
yep.
But Reitz and Oliver, I don't feel had that chemistry. Sorry, I had to pause for a second. Dana needed some water because it's life-threatening, I guess. Um, Anywho, I just didn't feel the connection. Did I think that they had a beautiful moment at the end of the episode where um he's apologizing. Thank goodness for an apology. And he used his words right. I think they did have a really nice moment, but I don't know, the
Yeah.
chemistry was kind of off. um Michael Emerson, I don't know if he was the right choice for this particular episode, and it could be the
Mm,
Lost fan in me talking, but
yeah.
I feel like I was able to pull out what I needed to pull out of it. But if you just clicked and dragged this episode off to oblivion, I'm not going to complain about it. And I love Vince Gilligan. I absolutely adore him.
Yeah,
But in my
yeah, I did
opinion,
too.
not his best work. What I can say though is Doggett is pretty playful in this episode. I like him. It looks good on him. His lighter mood looks really good on him. And that was a sight for sore eyes. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on this episode. So let's
Right
move
on.
on to monsters, bad guys. Speaking of Michael Emerson, look, um, was he monster? No. Like you said with the ranking, he just didn't know how to control everything. But here's the thing. Here's the thing for me is that I love the TV show Lost. I am a huge fan of that show. Benjamin Linus is one of the most complicated, creepy, infuriating characters that I've ever seen exist. I of course Lost wasn't a thing when this episode first aired, but the reason I didn't like this episode when it first aired, again, I don't like Doggett. I want Mulder back. I want Scully and Mulder back. I want all this shit. I don't want anything to do with this.
Right.
Now watching it, I cannot get Benjamin Linus. I cannot get Michael Emerson's character from Lost out of my mind when I watch this. I can't do it. It can't not. It's impossible for me. So
Yeah.
that's another reason I cannot watch this episode and why I don't like it and why I'm okay if it doesn't exist and why it didn't land well for me. What do you got to say about Monsters Bad Guys?
Well, I think that Michael Emerson, he's a brilliant actor, and I think,
Brilliant.
brilliant, and I think he did a good job with what he was given, but character-wise, again, it's giving Holman Hart for me, from King. And yes, it's sad that, this man grew up without a family, and yes, it's sad that his only friends were like these, you know, generic weird versions of the Brady Bunch, but he still killed 2 people. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like this grown ass man, and he's like through the whole episode kind of treated like childlike almost.
Yeah.
um and it sort of gave me the ick, and I understand that the direction going with this character was that he was lonely, and he was deprived of having family love. I get all that, but like you said, with this actor, um it just was off. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't see Lost. I mean, I watched Lost, but I remember him from Lost, and it also kind of turned me off. Like, because you know how sinister this man can be. I don't know. It just wasn't the right. I don't know, right casting, or wasn't giving me the right vibe. But and that's no shade on him as an actor. I think
Oh, no,
he's
he's
brilliant.
amazing. Are you kidding
But
me?
character wise,
Fucking
not a fan.
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, not a
Okay,
fan.
so you said something really interesting, and yes, I agree. This is like Holman Hart doesn't know how to deal with his feelings and emotions. Granted, Holman didn't really do any much investigation into it, and yes, people died and blah blah blah. Um, and I can say you're right. Oliver didn't do any kind of investigation in that either. I don't know if he knew, like, all of this was happening because he was heartbroken over Dr. Reese leaving. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't seem like he knew that he tied that all together. Nobody did until
Yeah,
Doggett did. But I
right,
can say this, is that I think this is one of the reasons why we liked the episode after watching it again a million years later, Hungry, was because this
yes,
character was trying his best to try and fix what was wrong with him. He was going above and beyond to try. He was going to like Overeaters Anonymous. Like
yes,
his power was so overwhelming that he couldn't do it, but at least he was trying. And he was
yeah,
young
his
trying.
intention right, his intention was to stop
Right.
actively, yes, and that's what made it so heartbreaking, and it
Yes.
made it so, engaging and heartbreaking for this for that character, because like you
Yep.
said, he was trying, like, he's like, "I don't wanna do this," but,
And that was another Vince
unfortunately
Gilligan episode. One
yes,
that I adore and love after watching it during this rewatch. But yeah, I think that goes to say that um that Oliver didn't put his best effort into this, but at the same time he was still stunted in his happy place. Like he was able to
right,
maintain his happy place. Like he could have lived forever if people just left him alone. But these 2
yeah,
jerks, like, come and, like, go in his house and all that shit. I don't
that's
think he
true.
knew what was gonna happen, but it
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
So, yeah. So, um, monster-wise, bad guy-wise, I think I would put him at the last of the monster bad guys list. Like,
Of,
he's not
like,
making any
totally
top 10,
of
yeah,
total yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Alright, let's move on to the MSR. Mulder, what do you gotta say about Mulder? And Scully and
I
the
think
relationship, if you wanna loop all that in.
yeah, yeah, I think Mulder's gearing up to come back. He's somewhere, finding a suit and tie, working out to battle some super soldiers, probably excited as hell to see his girl. As for Scully, I think she reached some milestones in this episode, but of course, God forbid Scully gets a win. I would have loved to have seen Scully get the freaking Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
Would have loved her to be the one who brought the proof, but that didn't happen. It would have been nice. Relationship, um, I think Scully says a lot at the that final scene, when she says, Doggett says to her, "Well, I'm sorry you didn't get your proof," and she says, "Well, after these 9 years, I got proof of more important things." And I think she was referring to, her connection, her love for Mulder and for each other. That's what I took from that. And what about you? What do you
Yeah,
got
no,
on
let me just jump into relationship really quickly. I think that it was proof that she loves Mulder and he loves her. Proof that
Yeah,
they adventured together and saw a part of this universe that not many get to see. And that was the proof that she was talking about. Like, she does have proof. Like, he is hers and she is his, and they
yep,
did the thing that they did. They did all those
yep,
things. And
yep,
at the end of the day, like, that's what it is. And that's the most important thing. All right, let's rewind back to Mulder. One, he was mentioned by Scully, and she didn't let it go, like the whole case. She went through Mulder's cases, and ultimately, Mulder helped her piece it all together, and I absolutely love that for this penultimate episode. Scully, she doesn't want to give up. She wants Mulder. She wants vindication for all of them, she says. But like I said before, I think it's for the X Files in general. Um,
yep,
but yeah, I think that I think that I love that. I love the fact that she says she doesn't have proof of all the paranormal stuff, but she does have proof of more important things, and it's all the stuff that we
yep.
mentioned. All right, Dini, you have a dozen tamales to give out to somebody in this episode. Who gets your dozen tamales and why?
I'm giving my dozen of tamales to John Doggett. I loved him in this episode. Uh, just all of it, but especially his big aha, like swan song,
Yeah, yeah.
of him figuring it all out. So John Doggett gets my dozen. What about you?
I love it. I don't blame you at all. I wish I could give him my dozen tamales as well, but I think I'm gonna have to give out quite a few dozen of tamales because I want to give my tamales to whoever did the whole set for this episode, whoever
Mm,
built like the whole team that recreated the Brady Bunch house, like a dozen tamales, all the tamales to you guys. The scene where Doggett gets up into the attic or wherever he is, but he's upside down. That was
yeah,
so cool. Like that a lot of work went into that. And I want to give
yeah,
my dozen tamales to whoever had a hand in creating the set for this episode because I thought it was phenomenal. I thought they did a wonderful job and they should be proud
nice,
and they get my tamales.
nice. I love
All
it.
right, Dini, let's move on to quick mention speed round. Any other thoughts you've come to? Go for it.
I had a couple of, well, the quick mentions that I had, we talked about Monica and Doggett holding hands. Um, Scully mentioning Mulder. So what about you? Any quick mentions?
David Faustino, we already talked about. Monica
Yeah.
actually stealing Doggett's A to B to C and his ahas. I thought that was pretty cute, and I
Yeah, that
think
was
that
cute.
he thought it was pretty cute too.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love the fact that Doggett really goes through it in this episode, and yet he still maintains his kind of empathy of figuring it out and wanting to do the right thing. And the other thing
Yeah.
that I wanted to mention is Dr. Reitz. I know him from ER. He plays Dr. Anspaugh, and I
Ooh,
really liked him. I liked his character in ER, and I just think he did a wonderful job. So shout out to him.
yeah. Shout out to him. Yep.
All right, Deanie, let's move on to episode trivia for this episode's Sunshine Days. Due to the original Brady Bunch 1969 set having been long ago disassembled, the elaborate the house set was built completely by the production crew. That's why they get my dozen tamales. We talked about
Hell
it.
yeah. Amazing. Yes.
This is the final standalone / Monster of the Week episode of the X Files original Unbroken run. Skinner's secretary is played by Mitch Pileggi's then real wife. Are they not real
Are
life
they not?
wife? I'm assuming they
Yeah.
still are.
Yeah, I
Oh
think so.
gosh,
I
why
don't
does
know
it
what that's
say
about.
that?
I don't
Arlene.
know.
Hmm.
Mhm.
You guys can message us if they are not together anymore, but
I
I
hope
have not heard
so.
that they weren't. I thought they were happily living life.
I think maybe whoever wrote this meant, like, then at that time, that was his real wife. Not that they're not anymore, maybe?
Well, it would just say real life wife.
Real life wife. Yeah, yeah.
But okay. Scully says that she's worked on the X Files for 9 years and worked on about 200 cases. This is the 200th episode of the series, and Scully has appeared in the most episodes of all the main characters. Gillian Anderson was a fan of the Brady Bunch when she was younger. She said seeing the house recreated in the flesh was quote unquote wild.
I bet.
Guest star Michael Emerson portrays a young man who manifests various supernatural phenomenon, including anti-gravity. A couple of years later, he would become well known for the role of Ben Linus on Lost in 2004, which we talked about, in
Yep.
which a central theme and factor is a supernatural phenomenon associated with the island. I love Lost. Lost would not
Yep.
have happened without the X Files. I just want to say that. That's what I
Oh, for
truly
sure.
believe. All
Yes.
right. So, Dini, we are all done. You want to see what we are going to talk about next week?
Yes, please. And I hope it's not another one that we were dreading to talk about.
Me neither. But
So
here's the thing, we had Sleepless, which, yes, we said don't sleep on Sleepless, but it's not one of the favorites, right? And then
no,
we
I
had
mean, it's
Sunshine
not up
Days.
there.
So I
Yeah.
am really hoping that we get like something really good. So, any
Yeah,
predictions?
I would love to do um something classic from going back to like season 1, because we haven't done Deep Throat, we haven't done Fire, we haven't there's so many from season 1 that we haven't done, and I would love that.
I have one in my hand. I would
Okay.
not like a season 1 episode.
Darkness Falls. That'd
I
be
want
awesome.
Detour. I want Detour.
Oh, that'd be
I
good.
want. Oh, let's see. What else do I want? I'm just gonna say I want Detour. Let's see what we
Okay.
got. I got one in my hand right here.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Fingers crossed.
Moment of truth. What? What?
Oh no.
All right, it's a revival.
Oh
It's
shit.
a revival. But it's a Skin Man episode. Can you see
Oh,
it?
kitten.
How
All right.
how
Well,
come I can't figure this out? There we go.
there it
Can you
is.
see it?
Kitten. Yes, I can.
Why can't I get it centered? Like, what is wrong with me right now?
Yep.
I see influencers are like this all the time, but I'm like, wait, where's the camera at? I don't get it.
Oh, well, you know what?
Kitten.
It's not a
Kitten.
bad episode.
I don't remember it,
And
so I can't say
it's
otherwise.
interesting. Yeah, but it's interesting that we went from Sleepless, which was about,
Yeah.
Vietnam
Hey,
vets.
good
There's
one.
a connection to Kitten. And so, yeah, it's not a bad episode. Was hoping for something a little bit more old school, but hey,
Yeah.
we'll do it.
I think I want Detour all the time. Look, here, I'll say this. I am so happy we got Monica Reyes sighting in this episode. I adore Annabeth Gish. I love Monica Reyes, and we hadn't seen her in
Right.
a while, so I'm really glad that we got a chance to have her in our lives today. But all right, that being said, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really, really do appreciate it. Shout out to all you on YouTube watching us. Hello.
Hello, hello,
We're
hello.
here. We don't know what we're doing. We'll figure it out. Just stick with us. We'll figure it out.
Yes.
That being said, if you want to send us an email, we love getting emails. You can email us to the X Files Chat Room Podcast at gmail.com. You can find us on social media at TXF Chat Room Pod, and that is Blue Sky. That is Instagram. That is, what's the other
Now
one?
on YouTube.
TikTok
Yep.
and YouTube. Yep,
Yes.
exactly. Exactly.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
We love hearing from you guys, so please don't hesitate to reach out. Send us a DM. We're always around. All right. That's all I
Yes.
got, Dini.
All right. That's all I got too. Thanks, everybody. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.